Well, Oscar Mabuyane, as you've seen, now been re-elected leader of the ANC in the Eastern Cape, winning 812 votes. Babalo Madikizela won around 662, a total of just under 1,500 votes cast. It seems that Mabuyane's slate won pretty much along with him. Dr. Bernard Sebake is a political analyst at Nelson Mandela University. Dr. Sebake, good afternoon to you. So, it wasn't perhaps as close as people thought it was going to be in the end. Do you think Mabuyane is, breathing a sigh of relief after that?
Good afternoon, Stephen, and good afternoon to the viewers. Well, you could say that, and one would say the issue of him, having a sigh of relief is the fact that he's the convener of the province, and once the conference is not successful under his name, then it really raises a picture of his leadership in the past period that has been the chair of the province and now the convener of the PTT. But safe also to say, I think the entire PTT must have been relieved that despite the tussles that have been there, it looks like the soul of the ANC it's rescued to elect leadership in order to really deal with the issues ahead of the national conference and the 2024 national election. I think everybody must have been relieved that at least this part is actually underway.
Babalo Madikizela told our reporter Sifa Kema just an hour ago from the conference floor that he accepts the results, that there'll be no court challenge against this result. I hate to be so cynical, but Dr. Sebake, do you believe him?
Well, look, it is very clear that the first challenge of court of Dr. Khubusana regime may likely be the only way in which those who are not happy with the outcomes of the conference may then appeal that decision, which ultimately will then be that the conference have said with delegates that did not have the rights to be there. And obviously, there are mixed feelings. Madikizela is an individual, and if you listen to Lungisa, who they are in the same slate, kept on harboring the issue of meddling with the credentials of the conference. That is likely the issue that when they meet collectively, they want to appeal to the national leadership of the ANC, or ultimately also thinking of going to court.
I have to say, Andile Lungisa is such an interesting, he's an interesting character. He suddenly gets included on Madikizela's slate. It seemed to be almost at the last minute. He served a jail term for assault. We've all seen the video of him breaking a glass jar on someone's head. He broke the ANC's own rules in standing for the position of leader of the ANC in Nelson Mandela Bay, so he stood for the leadership of a region. He broke the ANC's rules because he was a member of the Eastern Cape leadership. You're not allowed to do that in the ANC. He went and did it anyway. Jacob Zuma was present. He flew down specifically to Gqeberha, Port Elizabeth it was then, to basically sort of give him his blessing when he did that. Is he really someone that the ANC can afford to have in a high elective office in 2024?
Well, I think ANC has its own policy of looking at the leaders that are tried and tested in terms of their own policy transcripts. The likelihood is that it may not be Lungisa alone who is in the same breath. There are many leaders within the organization that have been deployed in position of responsibilities in government, who their standing in society was actually questioned without name dropping. But it looks like the question is, those who are in charge of the deployment in the ANC, do they see the need and the capability that has been there beyond the character of the individual to put in the leadership position? However, if it would be me, I would argue that I think the character of an individual take a posture of the kind of organization in the society. I wouldn't have really made such a consideration to make a deployment.
I think you're being polite, but I think we can see what you're saying. So the question then, I suppose, I mean, there's several questions that flow from this. In my view, I think it's likely that the ANC is actually, that the Eastern Cape is actually going to suddenly be a very important province in the ANC for a few reasons. KwaZulu-Natal seems to be quite divided. It's losing political power in the province. Only got 45% of the votes in the province in the local elections last year. I don't think Mpumalanga is going to be as big as it used to be in the ANC either, which means the Eastern Cape suddenly is the third biggest, suddenly becomes very big and very important, also because it's going to retain political power in that province. Certainly that's what it looks like at the moment. When you put all of this together, could Oscar Mabuyane suddenly find himself the leader of one of the most important provinces in the ANC in a way that we hadn't necessarily seen, and in a way that which is going to change in the next 2 years?
I think totally, if you look at the ANC generally at the national level, it is a party that really come to the fore as a party that is really engulfed and divided to the west of them all. And I think the fundamental aspect of this is that the fragmentation, Stephen, is not a fragmentation that comes from outside. It's a fragmentation that comes from within. And that fragmentation, when it gets to be read by ordinary people in the society, it is really them, posturing a party that really the public start to lose faith in it. And indeed, the Eastern Cape, of course, it is expected that it inspire the confidence to the people of the province and nationally that if you look at this conference, they emerged very divided and very, deeply rooted tensions that you could see. But at long last, I think they've managed to realize that the battle ahead of the soul of the ANC to actually surface, to inspire that confidence is more than us or themselves as delegates and as leaders in the province.
There's been a lot of focus around President Cyril Ramaphosa. I suspect that he may well address that conference a little later. We know Mabuyane publicly is a strong supporter of Ramaphosa. How significant has this weekend been, this result, in the road to December?
Many may think that this is a significant conference for Cyril Ramaphosa's bid to return to the office in December, if you like. But the likelihood is that there's no province that has a full, that is in full support of Ramaphosa to start with. All provinces are going to come fragmented, and it is likely that also the Eastern Cape will go to the conference in December very fragmented. However, on the second part is that because of the question of ANC renewing its identity, renewing its moral standing, and really showing face of that unity, it is significant for President Ramaphosa to address. In any way, he won't be addressing a faction, but hopefully will be addressing the entire conference and really give them some light of, the future of the ANC ahead and the question of renewal and moving forward.
There's so much in it, because, I mean, so much rests, I think, because of what could happen in 2024, what those election results might look like. You have the president going to speak today after being booed just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, really, by members of COSATU, by striking mine workers in Northwest. In a way, if you look at politicians around the country, he's still got the highest approval rating, although I think it's beginning to slip significantly. What kind of reception do you think he's going to get in the Eastern Cape this afternoon?
Well, I don't see him getting a hostile kind of a reception, and I will tell you why. The situation is relatively calm as compared to yesterday and even Friday when delegates were really coming to the conference. So I think depending on how he's approaching addressing as well, as he always emerges an individual who is a uniter. And so I think really his reception will be as warmth as possible, because I think the summit in the conference is that we've passed the mark. We're looking at the national conference, but of importance, to build structures of the party in the Eastern Cape, hence the ball of service, the question of service delivery and governance has to improve looking forward for the 2024 national and provincial government elections.
Dr. Bernard Sebake, thank you very much indeed. Political analyst based at Nelson Mandela University. Really do appreciate the time. More, of course, on the Eastern Cape as we go through the afternoon.